You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. Until today, it remains unclear how R. Kelly ended up receiving guilty verdicts both in New York and in Chicago, and just how the 30 years in New York and the 20 in Chicago were computed. Found guilty for RICO and Mann Act violation, as well as forced labor in the Brooklyn Federal Court of Justice, and later for enticement of minors and CP in the Federal Court of Illinois, R. Kelly was labeled a predator all for simply being involved in loving relationships with his ex-girlfriends that turned sour. And because the women left dissatisfied, which is the usual way these relationships end, those who were allegedly 17 years old and legal adults by state law decided to cling on to this and suggest they were still young and below age of consent. And the others who had met R. Kelly as adults of sound mind such as Faith Rogers and Kitty Jones among many others also seized the opportunity to make claims of abuse and forced labor, so they could also get a portion of the big cake called restitutions that was bound to be shared. Considering R. Kelly just like Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson and Jack Johnson of 1912 was also yet another black American celebrity at the peak of his career who was refusing to cooperate with his bosses. Anyone tasked to make a prediction of what was likely to happen would have guessed right. It's no wonder these women were quick to turn against him as a strategy to join the winning side and share in the bounty of restitutions that was never going to come in cheap for the R&B king. Why the United States of America is still governed along racial lines until today is rather hard to understand. This bad governance and total breakdown of the justice system will not only bring shame to the Department of Justice, but also successfully turned the two federal judges of Brooklyn and Illinois into public laughingstocks. It will be a shame on the two judicial officers after the Supreme Court has corrected their childish mistakes of leaning towards the prosecution and heeding the defense of their victory. The latest development in the case that saw the Chicago appeal court judges chose to act complacent and uphold the rather contradictory Illinois judgment has added the 3 appeal judges to the list of those whose record is to be reviewed after the Supreme Court has overturned their wrongful verdicts. We cannot be imprisoning people for 31 years for simply having broken relationships or separating from their girlfriends and divorcing their wives. Looking deeper into the case against R. Kelly will reveal to you that this is indeed the only fact the evidence can prove. All we can derive from the witness testimonies is that these women were in loving relationships with the R&B king, a period throughout which they were happy and enjoying while they depleted his dollars, but developed regrets later on when this was all over and the cash flows were no more. Eager to revenge on him, they found it rather convenient to jump onto the new beef he developed with Sony RCA, which managed the distribution of his music, a move that offered them another shot at cashing in from his bank account. It's rather sad to note that this is the agenda the entire Department of Justice represented by a one-judge Ann Donnelly and her Illinois counterpart Harry Leinenweber were backing when they allowed their emotional sentiments to guide their decision-making and issued such wrongful convictions, and shamelessly accompanied them with disturbingly long and overcharged sentences that even some culprits who have taken lives do not get. Meanwhile, there has been plenty to talk about the nature of sentence that Judge Harry Leinenweber issued and the way the failed appeal judges used to leverage their unfair decision to uphold the conviction and 20-year sentence. When Judge Leinenweber read out the rather shocking 20-year sentence, he added that R. Kelly would serve 19 years concurrently with the already issued New York sentence of 30 years, and then serve the remaining 1 year consecutively with the 30 to make them 31. Why he chose to do this may not be known yet, but it's certainly the very same reason the appeal judges were picking up from when one of them attempted to discourage Bonjean's appeal, suggesting it could get worse for R. Kelly. Specifically, she did ask attorney Jennifer Bonjean whether she recognized that granting her appeal could result into a resentencing that could make it even worse for her client if the judge decided to change what was a concurrent 20-year sentence into a consecutive one. And how this could see R. Kelly have to serve a whole 50 years in prison with no hope of ever being released. The appeal judges appear to have been in cahoots with the trial judge who made sure to add 1 year to R. Kelly's already ongoing 30-year sentence as a way of making him understand he could make it all consecutive if he appealed. Perhaps this is what the 1 additional consecutive year was all about. A deterrence in case R. Kelly felt the need to appeal further. And this is why supporters and fans of R. Kelly now insist it has to be a total dismissal, since they already know what the planned conspiracy looks like. It appears the plan is to lock up R. Kelly for the rest of his life and allow him no breather to even try and defend himself. They need him to worry that attempting to defend himself will only make it even worse than it already is for him by way of intimidation. Now this is the latest trend of events in the U.S. justice system. The Department of Justice has slowly degenerated into an institution that can be used by powerful individuals and corporations to wrongfully convict and intimidate defendants of select racial and societal backgrounds. And the institution has now become an arm of government used to terrorize the Black American community, by impoverishing those who threaten to leave behind generational wealth. If it hadn't been the very same justice system that used its power to discriminate against Black heavyweight champion Jack Johnson for marrying white women, if it hadn't been the same justice system that applied the very same Mann Act to cause him to flee to exile, only to imprison him later when he returned and cause him an early death, an incident which even Donald Trump's pardon cannot reverse, we would probably give them a benefit of doubt on this incident involving R. Kelly. But we now know for sure how the system operates, and the new objectives with regard to the Black community haven't changed much. We will not resist the laughter once all this mess created by the justice system in cahoots with the government has been reversed by the Supreme Court. All the trial judges and Chicago appeal judges will be left to do is be sorry for their careless and sentimental decision to malice the R&B king. According to Tabitha Nubian Queen, the Brooklyn federal judge Ann Donnelly was so unfair with her ruling and deserves to be locked up together with the Clary parents for their text message engagement and defamation. It's clear R. Kelly enticed nobody. He did not convince Azriel that if she became his mistress he would buy her a car or give her any payment in exchange. Instead it was Azriel and her mother planning on how to woo R. Kelly into a love affair. And we cannot imprison a man for being nice to his loved ones during the relationship, but suggesting his normal life itself was enticement for the women, and thinking he should pay for being a celebrity is a mess in itself. According to Mindy Stein, I hope and pray that the Supreme Court judge will see that R. Kelly is innocent. There is so much important information that Judge Ann Donnelly and Judge Harry Leinenweber paid no attention to. R. Kelly is innocent and he needs to be released as soon as possible. He deserves to get his life back on track. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.